In one of the most stunning collapses in recent MotoGP history, Ducati's dominance, once as unshakable as granite, now stands on trembling ground. The 2025 Australian Grand Prix at Phillip Island has done more than deliver a race. It has exposed a truth that Ducati fans feared but dared not voice. Without Marc Marquez, the Italian juggernaut is frighteningly fragile. For years, Ducati's presence at the top of MotoGP was synonymous with power, precision, and invincibility. The Desmosedici roared louder, cornered harder, and finished faster than any rival machine.
Welcome to GP Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.
But this weekend, under the cold, gusty skies of Phillip Island, the roar turned into a whimper. Gone was the swagger. Gone was the confidence. And most importantly, gone was the man who had carried their championship hopes on his back, Marc Marquez. Saturday's qualifying session sent shockwaves through the paddock. For the first time since the Valencia finale of 2020, no Ducati rider managed to secure a front-row start. The manufacturer that had flooded the top grid spots for years suddenly looked toothless. The statistics were brutal. Media, sprint race podium celebration without Ducati riders, MotoGP sprint race results screen showing no Ducati, riders from other teams celebrating podium, not one Ducati podium in the sprint race, a first since the format's introduction in 2023. Fabio Di Giannantonio salvaged a meager fifth place, while Alex Marquez's two crashes in Q2 left him limping to sixth. Even more disheartening was the reigning world champion, Pecco Bagnaia, who tumbled down the order after yet another costly mistake, finishing just ahead of test rider Michele Pirro in what could only be described as an uncharacteristic disaster. Pirro, the usually measured and loyal soldier of Ducati, didn't mince his words after the race. Pecco isn't losing time in one specific sector, he's slow everywhere. This isn't just a bad day. This is a symptom of something deeper. We lack stability, and we lack solutions. The veteran test rider's comments sent tremors through Borgo Panigale. For years, Ducati's technical supremacy and endless data-driven refinement made them the envy of the paddock. But now, stripped of the concessions that other manufacturers enjoy, they appear stuck in place, unable to evolve fast enough to meet the resurgence of Yamaha, Honda, and KTM. It's not just the bike, Pirro continued. It's the combination rider, setup, and adaptation. Phillip Island is unique, yes, but we can't keep calling tracks exceptions. The reality is, our bike is struggling with grip, balance, and consistency. These are not excuses anymore. Pecco Bagnaia's frustration was palpable as he faced reporters. I had no control over the bike. It was shaking in every corner, sliding on entry and bouncing on exits. I felt like a passenger. This isn't how a world champion should feel. Alex Marquez, who had looked strong early in the weekend, admitted to a crucial mistake with tire choice. The medium front tire was the wrong call. After 4 laps, I knew I was in trouble. I crashed twice trying to compensate. We had podium pace, but starting 10th killed our chances. It's painful because the potential was there, but the harmony wasn't. Much of Ducati's struggle can be traced to the 2024 rule changes that introduced a new technical concession system. Under this structure, struggling manufacturers like Honda, Yamaha, and Aprilia are allowed extended testing, more engines, and fewer restrictions, benefits that Ducati, as the dominant force, no longer enjoys. But no discussion of Ducati's fall can ignore the elephant in the room: Marc Marquez. The 8-time world champion, who, transformed Ducati's 2025 campaign into a red storm of precision and passion, is now absent, recovering from a fractured shoulder, sustained in the Indonesian Grand Prix crash. Since joining Ducati, Marquez didn't just ride the Desmosedici, he redefined it. His data, feedback, and fearless aggression pushed the engineers and fellow riders to new limits. His absence has left a vacuum not just of talent, but of leadership. As one paddock insider put it, Ducati didn't just lose a rider, they lost their compass. For a team that prided itself on mechanical perfection and ruthless efficiency, Phillip Island was more than just a bad weekend. It was, honestly, an existential crisis. The once ironclad image of Ducati as an unstoppable machine has been shattered. Even Ducati's official MotoGP account couldn't spin the narrative, posting a somber tweet. For the first time, no Ducati bikes on the podium. It was a moment of reckoning, a quiet admission that the empire was no longer untouchable. The question now isn't whether Ducati can recover, but how fast. With rivals rapidly improving under the concession system, every race without Marquez exposes another weakness. Engineers are under immense pressure to reinvent the Desmosedici, but innovation takes time, something MotoGP's unforgiving calendar just does not allow. Still, Michel Pirro remains cautiously optimistic. Ducati has fallen before and risen stronger. We won't panic, but we must act. The others are evolving. We need to evolve faster. The 2025 Australian Grand Prix will not be remembered for glory or victory, but for revelation. The red tide that once flooded the podiums of MotoGP has begun to recede, revealing cracks long hidden beneath the surface. Without Marquez, Ducati's aura of invincibility has vanished, replaced by uncertainty and introspection. Phillip Island was not just a defeat, it was a warning. A declaration to the MotoGP world that even the strongest giants can bleed. If Ducati does not adapt, and quickly, the question will no longer be when their reign ends, but who will take their throne. While Bezzecchi and Miller lit up the timing screens, Francesco Bagnaia endured one of the most miserable warm-ups of his MotoGP career. His Ducati Lenovo GP25 violently bucked and shook as it exited the final corner. A problem that's plagued him throughout the weekend and honestly raised some alarming questions about the bike's stability. Spectators and team personnel watched in disbelief as Bagnaia wrestled the machine down the straight before aborting the lap and switching to his second bike. Yet even the backup machine provided no relief. He ended the session a staggering 13 seconds off the pace, parking the bike early and trudging back to the garage in visible frustration. "We had issues with both bikes," Bagnaia admitted. "We're trying everything, but the bike keeps shaking violently. It's not about confidence, it's about control. We need to find the cause before the race." Asked if a top 10 finish was possible, his reply was blunt and defeated. "I don't think so, but let's see." For the double world champion, once Ducati's golden child, the weekend has been a nightmare. Crashes, setup confusion, and a lack of front-end confidence have turned the title contender into a shadow of his former self.